Testing. Parents, we need you to come down and sign this sheet if you haven't already. If you would like to sit by the student, your child, grandchild, niece or nephew, you can take them with you right now. Any parents, if your parent is here, you can go sit with them. If you're the king and queen of kindness, you stay on the front row, okay? All right. Anybody want to go sit with their parents? Parents, do you want to get those children? Thank you very much. Okay. If your parent is here, you can sit with your parent today. All right. Do you know, Miss Geddes, we had some students tell me this morning they wanted to find out how to be the king and queen of kindness. Because these students on the front row were voted for by the people out here as the king and queen of kindness of their classroom. All right, let's test it now.
Testing? Better? Okay, super. So raise your hand if you would like. Patience is one way to be a king or queen of kindness. And when you wait patiently, when you don't get what you want, that's one way to do it. And what I want you to do is think of a time when you were patient. And you know when one time was? Just now. You did an excellent job sitting and waiting. Very good. And nobody had to tell you what to do. You just did it. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what it takes to be the king or queen of kindness. And one thing that I want to tell you is, how many of you, ask you actually first, how many of you read your Bible? Do you know in your Bible there are many, many Bible verses that talk about how we are commanded by God to be kind. We are commanded by Him. He tells us that if we love Him, then we will love our friends. And you know who else He says we'll love? Our enemies. Because it's really, really easy to be nice to somebody who's nice to you. That doesn't take a whole lot. You know when it's tough? It's tough to be nice when somebody's not nice to you. And that's one of the main ways to be a king or queen of kindness, is when you don't get your way, you don't get what you want, somebody isn't nice to you, and guess what? When it's not fair. That's a big time to be a king or queen of kindness, is when it's not what we wanted. Because I know for me, it's really easy for me to be nice if you're nice to me. I can be nice back. But if you're mean to me, you know what my first reaction might be? I might get mad. If you're mean to me, my first thought might be, I think I'm mad at you because you weren't nice to me. Now, is that a queen of kindness? No. I might need to stop and say a prayer. Lord, help me. I don't want to be nice right now because I think I'm mad. And I don't really want to be mad. And you know, sometimes the only way I cannot be mad is if he helps me. Because I, in myself and in my flesh, feel a way I wish I didn't feel. Raise your hand if you've ever done that before. You just wish you weren't mad. And sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. We have to pray and say, God, Jesus, please help me not to be upset and be okay. That's one of the main ways. There are lots of Bible verses that tell us that. How many of you have heard of the fruit of the Spirit? When we look at the fruit of the Spirit, it talks about being gentle and patient and kind. I want you to think about a time right now when you were able to be nice when you really didn't feel like it. And I want you to take 1 minute to turn to somebody next to you and say, first of all, just turn to him and say hi. Okay. That's your talking partner. Now look back at me. Look back this way, and here's how you'll know when you stop talking, is when you hear chimes. In fact, let's practice that for a minute. Because I might have you turn to your neighbor and tell him something, and then come back to me. And you know how you'll know when it's time to come back to me? You'll hear the chimes. And then when I say 1, freeze, I want everybody to wiggle for me. 1, freeze. 2, look at me. 3, here we go. And I'll give you the next step. Let's practice that. Turn to your neighbor and say hi. You hear the chimes. 1, freeze. 2, look at me. You don't have to wiggle. That was a practice, but that's okay. 2, look at me. And 3, here we go. Okay? I want you to turn to your neighbor, and I want you to think for a minute before you talk, and then tell them a time when you were kind to somebody, and it didn't really feel like it, but you were anyway. One, freeze. 2, look at me. 3, here we go. So first of all, we want to always be kind even when we don't feel like it. The second thing I want to talk about is a word that you might have heard before, and your parents have a piece. You've actually got 2 packets, and we're not going to go through those page by page, but those are pieces of information that are good for you to use with your kids, and we'll go through some of it now. But how many of you have heard the word bully before? So you know what I want to say about bully? A lot of times it's used and it shouldn't be used. In fact, it's probably used more times when it shouldn't be used. So I want you to know when it's just a time when someone wasn't kind and when it might be a bully time and what to do about it. Because just because somebody's not kind doesn't mean they're a bully. That's a really important thing. I've heard so many people say, oh, they're a bully just because they're not kind. Do you know everybody in this room has been not kind at one time? Even your parents, believe it or not. You know how I know that? Because the Bible tells us we all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So we have all done something that I might think I'm kind, and you think I'm not kind. Sometimes that happens. It's the way somebody feels because they think different than we do. So we want to know when somebody isn't kind if it's a bully or not, right? And if it is somebody that's trying to be a bully, we want to do something about it and not just be somebody that's called a bystander. I want you to say that word with me. Ready? Bystander. That means somebody just stands by and lets it happen. But see, you're very young. And so you, when you're not going to be a bystander, need to get a teacher's help. And you need to know when to get help. And not really just always try to solve it yourself, but get an adult to help you. If it's a case where somebody's being what we might call a bully. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me if you think this is being a bully or not, or something about bullying. If somebody's mean and they're not kind and they're a bully, how many of you think nothing can be done to stop them? Raise your hand if you said nothing can be done to stop them. You know what? That's not true. We can do something to stop them. We can be big helpers. And we're going to learn today some ways to do that. So that's called a myth because it's not true. How many of you would say, only boys bully? No, that's not true. Girls can be bullies, boys can be bullies, anybody can choose to be a bully. You're not born a bully. It's bullying behavior. We choose it or not. Next, people who bully have more power than other people who don't bully. That's true because they take it and we let them. But we can change that, right? By trying to help make something be a little bit better and help somebody make a better choice. How about this? All kids, if you're a bully, you'll outgrow it one day. That's a myth. There are adults that are bullies. It isn't just kids. It's a choice. You don't have to be a bully. You can choose not to. How about this? Bullies have a low self-esteem. And they're insecure. Well, that's a myth. That's not always the case. It can be, but they might be proud of their bad behavior. Sometimes people make bad choices, and they want to get you to follow them and do the same thing because they're proud of their sin because they're blinded. Did you know the devil can do that? He can make us to where if we're not careful and we don't stay close and pray every day, we can end up where we're listening to his tricks and his lies. And then we think, ooh, I'm doing great when I'm being mean. And we don't want to be like that. That's a choice we make. How many of you think spreading a rumor is a way to be a bully? Like, I'm going to go tell somebody something that isn't true because he or she made me mad, so I'm going to tell a lie. I'm going to spread it. How many of you would say that's being a bully? That is a way to be a bully. You're right, and that's something that we don't want to do. How about this? If somebody's a bully and I ignore it, that's going to take care of the problem. No. You can't ignore problems and make them go away. Right? If somebody's not being nice, sometimes we might want to let it go, and sometimes we decide not to let it go because it needs to be solved. I'm going to show you a picture. And what I want you to do with this picture is tell me if you think that this is a case where somebody is acting like they should or not. Oh, it's not coming on the screen. So on the screen, you've got three pictures. Up at the top, there's a little boy, and he's pointing to another kid, a little boy and a little girl. What I would like, and teachers or parents, if you want to help me, If I could have 3 kids come to the front of the stage. Dr. Stewart, do you have a recommendation for which 3? Okay. Any 3? Teachers, parents? Okay, let's be picked. 3 that have their parent here. That works. So they're back. How about back there? 1, 2, 3. Who else has their parent here? Let me have 3 more. 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll have 7. So you guys kind of line up right here. So this top picture, I want the 3 of you to, right here, 1, 2, 3, you're going to take that top picture and you're going to act it. So you be the boy that's pointing, you be the little one in the middle, and you be the one on the left. Okay, so they're going to come to the front of the stage and they're going to act like this top picture. Okay, come over here. Now watch what happens. And what I want you to do is I want you to be watching and thinking if you have ever seen this happen before. So you are going to say, ha, 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 and you're going to tease her about the way she looks. Just, can you handle that? Knowing that you look beautiful. But we're going to pretend for a minute that somebody's making fun of her, even though she's beautiful. All right? So you say ha, 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 and then you're going to laugh when he's laughing. Okay, go ahead. You know what's so cool? These kids are all so nice, they're having a hard time role-playing that. I love it. It's hard to be mean sometimes, right? So he would say ha, ha, ha.
Ha ha ha.
You look funny.
You look funny.
And then you join in with what he said and laugh.
Ha ha ha.
And then you're going to look like this and be sad. Okay. Kind of hang your head down. So watch what happened. He was acting like not a nice boy, right? And she decided to follow and do what he was doing, and she felt bad. Now, sometimes people in the middle, you know what she might have done depending on her personality? She might have shouted back. She might have hung her head and cried, right? And we don't want either one of those things to happen. And she chose not to help. So when you are a bystander, remember the word we said earlier? When you're a bystander, she was a bystander. What could the bystander have chosen to do? Somebody raise their hand. Don't shout it out. I'll pick you in a moment. Let's let the king right here tell us. One choice is this bystander could have told the teacher. But maybe it wasn't necessary. That's an option, definitely. What's another thing she could have done? Maybe. Let's get back on the 3rd row. Young lady, yes. You right there. Yes. She could tell the teacher. But what if the teacher was busy and she couldn't get to the teacher? You're right. That's a good solution. What's another one? Let's go to this king. She could have walked away. That's another option. What if she's sitting here crying? What could she have done? We've got tell. That's one option. We're going to think of another different option. How about right here? She could tell the teacher, or watch this. Who's got a totally different idea than tell? Tell's a good one, but let's hear another one right here. She could have helped her herself. He wasn't appearing dangerous. Does he look dangerous to you? Nah, he doesn't look dangerous to me. He looks pretty innocent, right? Pretty innocent. So she could have said something like, I think she looks beautiful. And let's be kind. Remember, we're trying to be the king and queen of kindness. How many of you think you could do that? That you could take a stand and try to fix it if you don't need the teacher. If you need the teacher, you go to the teacher. So those are two ways to be the king or queen of kindness. This wasn't a bully, right? Now, if he did this every day, he comes in and says, I don't like you. You don't look good. You this. You every day. Lots of times. Everybody say that with me. Every day. Lots of times. Then we might say, I think you might be trying to be a bully. But if he just says a mean thing, that's not being a bully. Thumbs up if you see what I'm saying. We want to be kind, and we want to be a helpful bystander. How many of you say, I can be a helpful bystander? Would you please give these three students, tell me your name.
Alyssa,
And?
Eldrianne,
And?
Adele.
They're going to get a chance to play this again and to be kind, like they would probably have done if they weren't copying a picture I said copy, right? So what might you say to her that's a compliment?
I like your hair.
Oh, that was wonderful. Very good. And that's what I think he would have done on his own, right? And you might say,
I like your shirt.
and I think that's what she would have done, right? And then you would have said,
Thank you.
oh my goodness, look at these incredible manners. Give them a big hand. Yes. And that would be king and queen of kindness behavior. All right, you guys can have a seat, and then I'm going to have you two come up next. So you two are going to copy the second picture, and you are sisters. So imagine this in your head, okay? Are they really sisters? Oh, my word. How about that? Sovereignty of God, right? That was intended for you two to act this out. Okay, here we go. You're sisters, but this probably isn't anything like what they really do at home. I'm sure it's not. So here we go. Who wants to be the one that says the mean things? Okay, she beat you by half a second, so we're going to let her be the mean one, okay? You're going to be that one that's going, ah. You're going to, I'm just going to pick a mean name like Yucky, so it's not a horribly mean name, okay? I want you to say, you're yucky, because you took and you pick it. It could be hairbrush, it could be a toy, it could be a book, whatever, backpack. You took you fill in the blank without asking, all right? So first do that. Look at her and say it mean.
You took my toy.
All right, now, and say, and you didn't ask.
And you didn't ask.
Now she hangs her head and starts to cry.
What? Say what?
She's crying. Now later on, you start thinking about it. And you start thinking, oh my word, I remember a queen of kindness, when they don't get their way, responds with kindness. She should have asked. She was wrong. But guess what? Two wrongs don't make a right. So if I want to be queen of kindness, I must humble myself and apologize. So she comes over and you're going to apologize. Now, in the meanwhile, you thought, oh, I should have asked. And you apologize for not asking. And then y'all forgive each other. Are you ready? Okay. You say, I'm so sorry for talking unkind to you.
I'm so sorry for talking unkindly to you.
Now let me show you what she didn't do. She did a nice job. She didn't say, I'm so sorry for talking unkind to you because you took my stuff and didn't ask. Would that be a real apology? I said the right words. You know the point to learn with what I just said is how you say it is just as important, actually maybe more important than what you say. So I want you to say that with me. How you say it is important. Ready? How you say it is important. So she said it much kinder than I did. So hers counts as real. Mine did not. You never want to, I'm so sorry. That is not sorry. You know what's showing with that? Is my ugly heart. That's an ugly heart. I need to say, I'm so sorry I spoke to you unkind, which is how you said it. And then you say,
I'm sorry I took it without asking.
I'll remember to ask you next time.
I will remember to ask you next time.
Very nice for both of them. We're not finished. We're going to give them a big clap in a minute because you know what they need to do that's so important? They need to say, I forgive you. So she says, I forgive you.
I forgive you
For talking unkind.
for talking unkind.
And I forgive you.
I forgive you
For taking my things.
for taking my things
Without asking.
without asking.
Give them a big, giant hand. And can you tell them your name?
Tia-
One more time.
Tiana,
And
Sanaya.
y'all give each other a big hug since you're sisters. There we go. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you two can have a seat. So what have we learned now? When we make a wrong decision, and we will sin. We're going to try to do our best. But when we mess up, what do? Ask forgiveness. But you know what's just as important? Is to forgive. So everybody say that. I'll tell you what to say, and then I want you to say it. Say, I will remember to ask forgiveness. And I will remember to forgive. Do you know who hurts when you don't forgive? Jesus. Who else? God. Who else? Holy Spirit. And one more. You. Lots of good answers. 1, freeze. 2, look at me. 3, you hurt. If I don't forgive you, I hurt. If you don't forgive me, you hurt. And you're right. Jesus hurts, God hurts, the Holy Spirit hurts, other people hurt. But if you choose to be mad at somebody because they did you wrong, you will hurt inside. And it'll go deep. So you've got to learn to forgive. That's part of being the king or queen of kindness. Okay, you two, they've been very patient. They've waited in a wonderful way. Come on up here, all right? So this would be like a sibling with an older brother. Are y'all siblings? You get to pretend. Okay, so here we go. Your older brother tries to wrestle you, right? And you get into tickle fight. So y'all just kind of wrestle around. Just kind of wrestle around like this. Put your hands on your shoulders and just kind of wrestle. And then you just kind of laugh, right? You just kind of tickle and laugh. Anybody see anything wrong with that? No. How many times, though, do we play around like that and somebody goes, oh, well, you hurt me. They were hurting me just now. Is that okay to do? No. Don't forget, when you're just playing around and having fun, play around and have fun. Right? Let some things go. They don't even have to apologize because they just played around, right? They're just saying, ha, ha, ha. But have you ever gone to your parent and said, my brother was hurting me or my sister was hurting me when you were just playing around? Yeah. That would be one of those cases where we're not telling the truth, right? You don't want to do that. If they did this once and they told the parent something like, oh, does that make them a bully? No. But it wouldn't be nice to do that. That wouldn't be being a king or queen of kindness, right? So they're just playing around. Y'all just play around. Just have a good time. That's it. But don't do it when you're supposed to be working. That's what you do at recess, right? All right. So let's hear your name. You are?
Akila.
And you are?
Lorenzo.
Give them a big hand, please, for doing a nice job of just having a good time. Okay, you guys can go back to your seats. Thank you. All right, so we have 3 more pictures with 3 more situations where you can learn how to be the king or queen of kindness. So I need 3, 4, 7 more people. I need some help, teachers and parents, so that I get different people. So, you want to help me some? Okay, help me. Okay, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're good. Okay. Okay. In a minute, everybody in your seat is going to try something. So everybody gets to do something in a minute. Okay, so you two, ready to go. So here's the thing. You're going to pretend we'll let this be your lunch. This is lunch, okay? It's a funny-shaped hamburger. So you've got it, all right? You're going to be the kid that takes his lunch, all right? So here we are at lunchtime. You go ahead and take his lunch from him. And you look sad. So there you go. Now, I actually need one more person. Right there. Okay. Okay, hold on. You're a bystander. So he's a bystander standing right here, right? He watches this happen. But here's something very important I want you guys to know. What he just did, he would never do this, but we're going to pretend. He does it every day. This poor boy never gets to eat because he's taking his lunch every day. And nobody said anything. Everybody's being a passive bystander and pretending it didn't happen because they're scared of him. I don't believe that. That wouldn't really happen. We're pretending, right? But this young man says, I remember when we were thinking about how to be a king and queen of kindness, and I'm going to be a king of kindness, but I'm a little bit concerned about this kid, so I think I might need the teacher on this one. I've watched this happen every day. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I'm going to tell the teacher there's a problem, and this poor boy isn't getting his lunch. So, have you been up here? Come on, right here. She's the teacher. Okay, so I want you to go over. Let's do it again. Okay, so the next day, he takes his lunch. Do it again. The next day, he takes his lunch. The next day, he takes his lunch. The next day, he takes his lunch. See, there we might be saying, it's kind of being a bully maybe, because that's happening a lot, right? So he says, I can't watch this anymore. I want to be a helper, and you go to the teacher, and you tell the teacher. What would you say?
I don't know.
Isaiah says, I see, what's your name? Joseph is hurting.
I see Joseph hurting.
What's your name? Mason takes his lunch every day.
Mason takes his lunch every day.
And I don't know what to do about it.
And I don't know what to do about it.
And you say, thank you so much. What's your name? Isaiah? Say thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I will certainly
I will certainly take care of it.
finish it. She said it on her own. There you go, problem solver. So then she is going to what? Not go straight to him. She's going to go to Mason and say, hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
What's happening at lunch?
What's happening at lunch?
And Mason says,
He is taking my food.
every day.
Every day.
And then the teacher comes and says,
Are you taking his lunch? Yes, ma'am.
and then we go to solve it. Everybody see? Now let's hear their names, and then we're going to give them a big giant hand. Oh, wait. Oh, I can't yet. What'd I forget? Yes, we can't forget that. So he then says,
I'm sorry
for taking your lunch.
for taking your lunch.
And he says,
It's okay.
I forgive you.
I forgive you.
Now we're finished, right? So let's hear their name. Hold on. I want to come say your name. You are?
Mason.
And?
Michaela.
And?
Joseph.
And?
Isaiah.
Oh, so sorry.
Isaiah.
And would you please give them a big giant hand? Thank you. Okay, next I need 1, 2. Okay, you're going to get the last one. Okay, so here we go. You are reading this booklet, okay? And you're having trouble reading. And every time you read out loud, he makes fun of you and laughs. So you can just read anything you want. Just once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
And then you come over here and you laugh.
You
And say, you read funny.
eat funny.
Now, I don't think they would really do this, but let's pretend they did, right? And it just happened on occasion. They're not bullies. That just wasn't kind. Even if she had trouble reading, that wasn't a great way to handle it, right? So then, if I see this happen, and I'm the teacher, I'm going to have them talk to each other, right? If I have a bystander, I hope a bystander would come tell me if we needed to solve it, right? And then you, when you realize what you did wrong, will say what to her?
I'm sorry for laughing at you.
And then what would she say?
It's okay.
I
I forgive you.
There we go. So, would you please tell us your name?
Rashad,
And you are?
Jamiley,
Would you please give them a gigantic hand? Now, let me tell you what sometimes happens. Sometimes, if you're the one and something's really easy for you, you know what else sometimes we do, or sometimes people do? Well, that's easy for me. If you have ever done that, please think twice and don't say that. It may be easy for you. Good for you that that's easy for you. But you know what I know? I know God made us all with things that are hard so we can learn to be humble and learn to grow and get stronger on our weak areas and to enjoy where we're strong. But what I don't want to do is make somebody else feel bad because what's easy for me is hard for them. We want to help each other. That way you can take your strength that God gave you and help other people where they're not as strong. And where they're strong, they can help you where you're weak. Give them a big, gigantic hand, if you will. Thank you so much. All right, and you guys can have a seat. Well, you said your name, right? We did that? I had them say their name, didn't I? Yes, okay. All right, you three come on up. Now, here's what happens. You are the new girl. And you are new to the United States, and you don't know much English. So language is hard. All right? You two are making fun of her and not being kind. She's new, you're not being welcoming, and you tell her to go back to her home and that she speaks English funny. All right? So you just try to say, hi, everyone. You kind of say it hard, like stumble on it. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So she tries to say something, and you guys,
Ha, ha, ha.
Ha ha ha, you're not this country. You need to go back home.
he's got the nonverbal going too. You know what nonverbal is? It's when you don't talk. His body language. That speaks loud. Nice job role-playing that, both of you. Because when you do this to somebody, everybody make a mean face. I don't have to say a word. I can do that. And you know what? I'm sending a mean message. I am not being a queen of kindness with my face. Sometimes it helps when you make a mean face to look in the mirror. Because sometimes we don't know what our mean face looks like. And it sends a mean message. So they're sending mean, no, make a mean, you'll make your meanest face. There you go, mean face, mean body language, and then she's crying. Now, I want one more volunteer right there. Both of you. Both of you two. They're going to be bystanders, all right? You guys act it again. You're bystanders, and I'm going to put the two of you on the spot. I want you to tell me what you should do. Okay, you guys act it out. Go.
Ha, ha, ha.
You don't know what you're doing here.
She's crying, and you two see this happen. What would you do?
You're not being really nice to someone.
So he's going to try to solve it on his own, right? So let's do this. He tries to solve it. Come over here, and you say, you're not being nice to someone.
You're not being nice to someone.
And y'all say, so?
So
They choose not to listen. And that was a really great try, right? What are you going to do? You say, let's talk to the teacher about it.
Let's talk to the teacher about it.
But then you think again, and you go, let me try to fix it. So then you come over and you say, hey,
Hey,
that wasn't very nice.
that wasn't very nice.
She's new.
She's new.
We should be her friend
We should be her friend
and help her not be sad.
and help her not be sad.
And you say, yes, thank you.
yes, thank you.
That's what I was trying to say. Let's all go be your friend.
Let's all go be your friend.
And let's say the two of you think about it, and you're like, okay, maybe you're right.
Oh, maybe you're right. I'm sure I'll think about it.
Very good. Okay, so then you guys all four come over and welcome her. What's your name? Kayla. Say hi, Kayla.
Hi, Kayla.
Kayla,
Hi, Kayla.
We're so glad you're in our class.
You're so glad in our class.
And then the two of you, what do these two need to do?
Apologize.
So you come over to her and say,
Sorry for being a bully and being.
well, here's the thing. Was it a bully? No. They were just mean once. If they did it, ready? Every day, all the time, then you could say, maybe it's a bully. But if they're just mean once, they're just not trying real hard to be the king and queen of kindness. Right? Okay, so you say, will you forgive me?
Will you forgive me? Will you forgive me?
And you say,
Yes.
and then she's probably going to say, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really wanted to be your friend.
I really wanted to be a friend.
I'm happy to be in this country,
I'm happy to be in this country.
but I was sad because I didn't have any new friends.
I was sad that I didn't have any new friends.
I'm so excited now.
I'm so excited
And
now.
yes, I forgive you.
Yes, and I forgive you.
Okay, now they're going to tell you your name, and then we're going to give them a big clap. Okay, you are?
Kayla.
And?
Dion.
Can you face the audience? Let them see your happy face. And these kids would never be mean like that. but they did a great job role-playing it. So you are?
Dion.
And,
Kalia.
Eluji.
and, come right up here so they can see you.
Emmanuel.
Would you please? And you guys can have a seat. Okay, now here's your turn at your seats. Everybody's going to do this. I want you to have a partner, the one you talked to a minute ago. Turn and say hi to him again. And next, I want one of you to be A for awesome. One of you to be B for brilliant. Decide who's awesome and who's brilliant. Go. Do it yourself. I'm not going to help you. You do it. Now, all the awesome people, raise your hand. Okay, hands down. All the brilliant people, raise your hand. Teachers, if somebody chose not to participate, I'm not going to know it. You might repeat this in your classroom so everybody has a chance. If we've got somebody not doing it, I don't want them left out, all right? So I want the awesome person to look at this person sitting next to them and give them a mean face. I want the brilliant person to respond with kindness. And then the mean face say, ready? Mean face say, thank you for being kind. I apologize that I wasn't kind a minute ago. All right, the other person says, I forgive you. Now switch roles. Brilliant. Make a mean face. Awesome. Tell them that was not kind. Brilliant. Say, please forgive me. Awesome. You're going to say, I forgive you. All right, so all today, I hope you have learned this. Number one, just because somebody isn't kind doesn't mean they're a bully, right? You still might need to get teacher help, and you still might can fix it yourself. So everybody say, I want to be a helpful, what's that new word? Bystander. Secondly, ready? Listen carefully. I want to be kind even when it's not fair. And last thing, I will get teacher help if I need it. But sometimes I can help solve the problem. And last but not least, pray and ask Jesus to help you when you don't feel like you can do it by yourself. Okay, now, I want to tell you one thing in closing. You kids are fabulous. You did such a great job of listening. You did such a great job in the audience of watching the people on stage, and the people on stage did a great job, and you did a great role play in your seats. Will you please give yourselves a gigantic hand for being great, kind students today? And I thank you for the honor of getting to see you today and talk with you and work with you. I think we've got a whole group of kind students here. So thank you, Dr. Stewart, for the opportunity to work with your school.
Wouldn't it be something if next year we had maybe a tie for the king? Could it happen in a class? Could it happen? Wow, that we would, It could happen. I don't know what'll happen next year. Now, parents, I want you to be sure and sign in up front, up here, and you're going to have an opportunity to ask Miss Geddes some questions. If you haven't seen your parent, turn around because some of them came in a little late, wave to them. Maybe you'd like to go back and sit with them. And we're going to dismiss at this time. So the kindergarten are going to head to the door, and the second grade, Miss Peach, the second grade will head out this door. Parents, you can come on down at this time.
And I want to thank the parents for coming. I know you've got busy schedules. Really appreciate you coming to support your kiddos.